Let's talk about the game you're on tomorrow, UNLV and Arkansas State. First of all, will it affect Arkansas State that at kickoff it's going to be about 103 degrees?
My broadcasting partner Noah Kozlov and I were going back and forth about this. I played in New Orleans. I played in Miami, and that type of humidity, that wet, wet down comforter strangle you, that's been in the sun heat. It's a lot different from this desert dry heat. And I know everybody says, "Oh, it's a dry heat." It's a dry heat. No, I mean it's hot. It's going outside. I mean, we don't have to do hot yoga. We just go outside and do yoga. I mean, it's hot, right? I don't necessarily think the guys from Arkansas State are going to struggle as much as you would think, because without that humidity, you just got to stay hydrated. So I don't think it's going to be as big an issue.
When we look at how these teams match up with Arkansas State and UNLV, and we go back to last year's game and see that UNLV really struggled to get the ball in the air, partially with Armani Rogers, partially because of the weather conditions. When you look at this game, how vital do you think the UNLV passing game is going to be to its chances to success?
It's one of the things we just talked about with Coach Sanchez is, opening up the pass game. He knows, in fact, that, they're not going to be able to run it, or rather pass it for, 100 yards or so and hope to win this game. I think it's a vital part for UNLV to maintain and gain on what they did last week, and definitely get the passing game going. They've got a pretty solid group of wide receivers, and I think if they can exploit some of those DBs on Arkansas State's side, I think they'll be very happy with that.
Let's talk quarterback change now for Arkansas State. It's not as if they switched this season, but Justice Hansen is gone. How is the new kid different from Hansen?
I think Logan Bonner, one of the things that jumps off the tape with him is the way he slings it, right? And he's got a lot of poise in the pocket. I don't know if Hansen, I can't necessarily say Hansen didn't, but Logan Bonner, with his pedigree in high school, where he's coming from, you can kind of see that he's been primed and ready to play. He's got that swag, that chip on his shoulder that you kind of want from your quarterback. He's got arms for days in terms of being able to sling it. Obviously, some of those throws last week, if you watch some of that tape, they didn't necessarily hit their mark. And I think that's where, these defensive backs will definitely have some opportunities if they take advantage.
You mentioned the tape a couple of times, and I want to get into that as it relates to Armani Rogers, the quarterback for UNLV. There's been questions about his ability to throw the ball in the past. I think he's shown some pretty good improvement. But when you turn on a tape and you see a run like he had last week, the 65-yard touchdown run,
right?
I mean, what does that do to a defense when they're trying to prepare for a guy? And just how much does that play jump off on tape to you?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, first and foremost, he's an amazing athlete, amazing talent. And I'm one of the people who think that he's got fantastic passability, and that's one of the things that they've been working on this week. And from what I understand, he's had a great week of practice, being on target, being on cue. I think that he's going to be super scary for the entire country, honestly, if he can put it all together. We already know what he can do with his feet. That's no secret. But what a lot of people don't know is that he's got, a substantial amount of arm. And if he can get it on target consistently, because he's been on target plenty of times, but if he can do it consistently over and over again, we'll definitely see him playing on Sunday.
Ike, you're aware of the situation coming into the year, right, with UNLV, where, Tony Sanchez is on the hot seat. His job was saved last year because Rogers came back. They won 2 of 3 down the stretch and played well in the loss. But there's some pressure here. He's got to get to 6 or 7 wins and make a bowl game.
I think Coach Sanchez didn't get to where he's at. Listening to outside pressure, I posed the same question to him earlier today, and his answer was that basically, you don't get to where he's at, putting that pressure or listening to the outside, the outside noise. There's always going to be chatter. As a player, there's always chatter about each and every one of us, right? And everybody wants to win. First and foremost, we don't do this to lose. Nobody does. And he's definitely locked in, from what I understand, and they're ripe and ready for a W.
7 o'clock kickoff. Ike with Noah Kozlov on the call, on Stadium, on Facebook. Hey, we appreciate a couple minutes. We definitely want to talk to you down the road. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.